CMFAS Module 5. Chapter 1. The Regulatory Bodies and Associations. This chapter will provide an overview of the roles and objectives of the various regulatory bodies and trade associations in the financial advisory services arena of Singapore. There are 6 major regulators and associations in Singapore. They are MAS, the Monetary Authority of Singapore; Sgx, the Singapore Exchange Limited; Imas, the Investment Management Association of Singapore; LIA, the Life Insurance Association of Singapore; ABS, the Association of Banks in Singapore; AFAS, the Association of Financial Advisors, Singapore. The MAS, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, was formed on January 1, 1971. It is the authority to regulate all elements of monetary, banking, and financial aspects of Singapore. The MAS regulates the insurance industry and the securities industry, and is also responsible for issuing the currency of Singapore. There are 2 major missions for the MAS. The first is to sustain non-inflationary economic growth. That is to keep prices low while keeping economic growth. The second is to promote a sound and progressive financial services sector, which means MAS wants the financial services sector to be stable yet constantly improving on its own. The MAS has 4 principal objectives. Firstly, act as the Central Bank of Singapore. That is to manage and conduct monetary policy, in other words, to adjust interest rates. To issue currency, that is to print money. Secondly, supervise the financial services sector and keep the financial stability of Singapore under surveillance. Thirdly, manage the official foreign reserves of Singapore. That is to save, keep, and invest the money of Singapore. Fourthly, develop Singapore as an international financial center. Remember, objectives are targets that we try to achieve, but have yet to complete. As the regulator of the financial services industry, the MAS issued and administered various instruments under the Acts. This section shows the classification of instruments adopted by the MAS. So, what exactly are instruments? Violin? Piano? Tuba? No. Instruments here are basically documents. It is just a fancy word to make the exam hard. So, no worries, instruments are just fancy documents. We can break down documents of the MAS into 2 categories: those with the force of law and those without. Force of law means it's something you may go to jail for. If you break it, you may pay a fine or go to jail. If the instrument has no force of law, the worst case scenario is losing your license, getting reprimanded, or other civil punishments. So, Acts contain statutory laws. Subsidiary legislation spells out in greater detail the requirements of the Acts. Directions offer specific instructions to financial institutions or other specified persons to comply with. Other specified persons, example, a financial advisor's representative. Acts, subsidiary legislation, or directions have the force of law. A breach of Acts, subsidiary legislation, or directions can be considered a criminal offense. Guidelines set out principles or best practice standards that specified institutions or persons are encouraged to follow. Guidelines here refer to official advice about how to do it, but not specific, precise instructions. Codes set out a system of rules governing the conduct of certain specified activities. Practice notes guide administrative procedures to specified institutions or persons, such as licensing, reporting, and compliance matters. Specified institutions or persons here mean entities, not an individual. Circulars are documents to share information, and no immediate action is required. They are typically information for the public. Policy statements outline the major policies of the MAS broadly. guidelines, codes, practice notes, circulars, and policy statements have no force of law. Failing to abide by guidelines, codes, practice notes, circulars, and policy statements is not a criminal offense. On June 8, 2010, the MAS issued a monograph on tenets of effective regulation to communicate the MAS approach to developing effective regulation. These tenets flow from four of the broad principles of financial supervision. They are risk-focused, stakeholder-reliant, disclosure-based, and supportive of enterprise. The six tenets are outcome-focused, shared responsibility, risk-appropriate, responsive to change in cycles, impact-sensitive, and clear and consistent. Broad principles are fundamental guiding beliefs or assumptions. They are a general understanding of how the MAS sets its rules. Whereas, tenets are more focused and detailed opinions on administration. The MAS formulates codes, guidelines, and administrative policies based on the six tenets. The six tenets guide the design and formulation of regulation, and explain the MAS balanced regulatory approach. They are intended to be generally applicable to all areas of the MAS regulatory development work. The Sgx Singapore Exchange Limited was formed on December 1, 1999. The Sgx is the first demutualized, integrated, securities and derivatives exchange in the Asia-Pacific. A mutual exchange is just like a private, member-owned association, which allows members to trade. Members are mainly stocks and futures brokers of Singapore. Demutualized means the process in which a mutual exchange legally changed its structure to become a publicly traded company, owned by shareholders. On November 23, 2000, the Sgx became the first exchange in the Asia-Pacific to be listed via a public offer and a private placement. The Sgx owns and operates the only integrated securities exchange, SGXST, and derivatives exchange, SGXDT, in Singapore. Besides facilitating the listing of leading companies in Singapore, SGXST has also attracted listings of companies from other countries. SGXDT has also developed a reputation for being committed to an innovative and pro-market approach. They want to help the markets to be developed. Figure 1 is an example of SGXDT products. SGXDT products include futures and options on interest rates, stock indices, energy, and commodities. SGXDT offers the broadest range of Asian derivatives worldwide and the widest range of international derivatives in the Asia-Pacific. Figure 2 is the homepage of SGX. Aside from equity investments, stocks, and derivatives, other products, including ETFs, REITs, GDRs, company warrants, structured warrants, etc., can also be traded through the Sgx. Together, the securities and derivatives exchanges serve a wide array of international and domestic investors and end users, including many of the world's largest financial institutions. The 7 regulatory functions of the Sgx. First of all, the Sgx undertakes part of the regulatory functions of the MAS, such as issuer regulation. Issuers are listed companies in Singapore. The Sgx reviews new and additional listing applications of prospective or listed companies. It approves and rejects applications of companies that wish to become listed companies. Apart from that, it also monitors issuers' ongoing compliance with listing requirements and performs follow-up actions. It also provides support to listed companies on regulatory issues when necessary. Secondly, the Sgx supervises its members. The Sgx processes membership applications and permits, monitors members' compliance with the Sgx rules, provides support on regulatory issues to members, and investigates complaints concerning members. By members here, we do not mean that kind of members. By members, we mainly mean brokerage firms in Singapore. All trades on Sgx can only be conducted through members. and an average person cannot directly participate in trading on the Sgx. Thirdly, the Sgx conduct market surveillance. The Sgx monitors all trading activities in markets operated by Sgx, example, the securities and derivatives markets. The fourth regulatory function of the Sgx is enforcement. Sgx investigates suspected infractions and tracks complaints, performs necessary disciplinary actions. We will delve into these two functions in the next slide. The fifth one is risk management. It monitors and manages Sgx's counterparty risk exposure to clearing members for the Sgx trade. The risk includes Sgx's own risk as a trading platform and its members' risk. Trading on Sgx, the clearing process is not directly settled between buyers and sellers but with the clearinghouse under the Sgx. The clearinghouse of Sgx is the middleman of every trade in the Sgx. This means that a deal between a buyer and a seller becomes the buyer and the seller trading with Sgx respectively, and then one contract becomes two. Therefore, Sgx, acting as a middleman in trade, must manage its own risk. If the middleman is financially unstable and unable to continue its business, all transactions will not be effective or valid anymore. That is why the Sgx needs to manage its risk to maintain average trading for everyone. 6. The Sgx Catalyst Regulation. Sgx Catalyst is the first sponsor-supervised listing platform in Asia for local and international fast-growing enterprises seeking a primary listing. The purpose of Catalyst Regulation is to promote a high standard of disclosure and corporate governance by listed companies. As we all know, a catalyst with a Y is a chemical that expedites chemical processes. The catalyst in Singapore is a wordplay. It accelerates the growth of fast-growing companies by listing. Catalyst with a Y plus list, hence catalyst with an I. CATALIST. Finally, the seventh function is clearing risk. The clearing risk function is to develop and enhance the risk frameworks to manage risk effectively. To help you get a better understanding of the Sgx regulatory functions, we have summarized some of the implementation details for your reference. In its surveillance function, the Sgx monitors trading activities of the exchange's markets to detect unusual trading activities and prohibited trading practices or conduct, including insider trading and market manipulation. In its enforcement function, the Sgx investigates alleged misconduct by members, their directors, employees, and trading representatives. The Sgx may initiate disciplinary actions before a disciplinary committee if the investigation reveals a possible breach of the Sgx rules or bylaws. In its regulation function, Sgx conducts annual on-site inspections of its members to ensure that the rules and regulations relating to trading in securities and derivatives are complied with. The Sgx also monitors its members' financial health to ensure adequate capital for their operations. Members must file financial reports with Sgx periodically. The Sgx also monitors listed companies' compliance with the listing rules. In its risk management function, the Sgx clearinghouses guarantee the contract performance of all trades done on the Sgx. The Sgx monitors members' risk exposure, collect collateral as appropriate, and performs stress tests to ensure that the clearing funds can meet their obligations. In its catalyst regulation function, the Sgx reviews and approves applications and monitors obligations. In its clearing risk function, the Sgx consults business units, external parties, and the regulator for assurance that the risk framework is effective, relevant, and robust. The Imas, Investment Management Association of Singapore, was formed on September 22, 1997. The Imas is a representative body of investment managers spearheading the development and growth of the industry in Singapore. The Imas represents professionals from its member firms in Singapore. The main 6 objectives of Imas are: firstly, to promote professionalism and exemplary practice among its members in their conduct of the investment management business. Secondly, to provide a forum for its members to discuss issues or matters relating to the investment management industry. Thirdly, to represent its members collectively in discussions with or assist any member in making any representation or recommendation to any government or authority which are concerned with the investment management industry. Fourthly, to promote the education of the investing public on investments and the investment management industry. Fifthly, to improve professionalism and standards of research and fund management expertise in Singapore. And sixthly, to promote the investment and fund management industry. To foster high standards of professionalism among practitioners, the Imas has drawn up the Code of Ethics and Standards of Professional Conduct. The Imas Code of Ethics includes 3 codes. The Imas members shall: firstly, conduct with integrity and professionalism and act ethically. Secondly, act with competence and strive to maintain and improve competency. And thirdly, exercise due diligence and professional judgment with proper care. Remember, codes have no legal effect. The Imas standards of professional conduct cover 4 areas: investment manager, business conduct, client relations, and investment conduct. The LIA, Life Insurance Association of Singapore, was established in 1962. The LIA is a not-for-profit trade body of insurance companies in Singapore. Insurance companies include life insurance product providers and life reinsurance providers. These companies must be licensed by the MAS. The life insurance product providers here refer to life insurance companies, not insurance salesmen or women that you met in the street before. The relationship between life insurance product providers and life reinsurance providers is like a retailer and a wholesaler. The vision of LIA member companies is to provide individuals with peace of mind and to promote a society where every person is prepared for various needs in different stages of life. The LIA member companies are committed to being a progressive life insurance industry by collectively enhancing consumer understanding, promoting industry best practices, and through the association fostering a spirit of collaboration and mutual respect with government and business leaders. There are 6 values underpinning the LIA and its members. The first, unified in delivering innovative solutions where every individual's needs are best met. The second, professional in both conduct and giving counsel. The third, ethical in managing policyholders' interests with integrity. Fourthly, fair in providing favorable outcomes to policyholders and shareholders. Fifthly, open and honest, building an environment of trust and transparency. And lastly, proactive in giving their people the skills and knowledge to provide sound solutions.
ABS here is neither abdominal muscles nor anti-lock braking systems.
The ABS, Association of Banks in Singapore, was formed in 1973. The ABS promotes and represents the interests of the banking community in Singapore. And it works closely with the MAS and other government bodies to develop and maintain a sound financial system in Singapore. The AFAS, Association of Financial Advisors, Singapore, was formed in 2001. The AFAS is a trade association representing financial advisors in Singapore. It provides a forum for its members to develop the financial services industry in Singapore further. What needs to be clarified is that financial advisors in this exam in Singapore refer to financial advisor companies, not an individual. The details of who a financial advisor is will be delved into in the next chapter. If you need to take the CMFAS exam, welcome to explore our study materials. Question bank. Group class. 1-to-1 tutorial. Passcmfas.online help your success. If you have any questions about the CMFAS exams, please get in touch with us. Office hours. Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 12 p.m., 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. Weekends and public holidays, closed. Website, Passcmfas.online. Phone, +65 60111029. WhatsApp, +65 88743947. Email address, info@passcmfas.online.